All right, all right. Good Friday, everyone. It is April 1st, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 1400 UTC. I guess like we are now changing it to 1400. This thing of like, I don't know, the Americans changing the way that the world think about time is madness. Thank God that we decided to stop doing that. So usually we used to do this at 1500 UTC, and now we're doing it at 1200 UTC because of the, I guess, summertime. So welcome everybody. We're doing the MeanDAO Community AMA, an update with the core team. We're here to answer your questions, give you an update, and hopefully get everybody up to speed as to what's going on in the last week, what's going on in the upcoming week, and any kind of new big plans that we have ongoing. This has been a good week, so a bunch of new releases, a lot of things happening on the marketing side, a lot of things happening on the product side. Very, very exciting to share some of these updates with everyone. And I think that I'm not going to steal anybody's thunder here. So instead of me babbling about it, why don't we? I know that, and I'm probably going to go back and talk a little bit at the end about some subjects that Mo wanted me to cover, especially with regards to exchanges and a couple of other things. But for now, I leave you in the grace of the one and great Palasan, which has some very exciting updates for everyone.
Thanks, Michelle. Hey guys, happy Friday to everybody. For sure. So thank you, thank you for letting me share the news. I think everybody knows, but we're really excited about a bunch of things on the product side. Of course, the biggest one was the launch of staking yesterday, and so that was super exciting. And on top of that, it's really great to see how many people are taking part of it already. The APR at 21% is quite fantastic if you compare it to a lot of the other projects out there that are in sort of a same area as us or even wider. And we added on top of that some additional connections for investment options, liquid SOL staking, to have them all in one place so you can compare, see the different offerings and stake SOL as well, and links to our Orca and Radium liquidity pools. So major upgrade and launch on the invest side with quite honestly a lot to come. The staking was a first step towards some pretty cool stuff, including on top of that locking capabilities with boosters on the returns that people can get when they stake. And so that was pretty exciting, I'd say. We were all really happy to finally get that out, and I know the community was as well. So grateful for sort of some of the comments that we've got from everybody, and to see how well it's being received so far.
I just to second that a little bit. I think finally, after a couple of hiccups that we had in the middle, we're finally out with the staking contract. We're about 12 hours in, and about $150,000 of total value locked. We're already even getting some suggestions of other things that you guys want to see there on the feature requests and the roadmap boards that we have on next.meanfi.com. So that's amazing. That's great that we're already getting some feedback on some additional things that you want to see there. I think that this is what it's all about. We build it together and we make the best of it. We are going to also, on the staking side, be monitoring that for the first week. We're gonna keep the rate locked at 21%. So we're monitoring that multiple times a day to make sure that the pools are correctly balanced on that. And then we're going to open up little by little, like and essentially add the rewards and the distributions on a daily schedule, and then every other day, and then on a weekly schedule. So we're monitoring the whole process through and through. So um, I think all along, this is phenomenal, and I cannot wait also to see the locking mechanism come to life. Maybe Pavel-san, you want to share a little bit the main distinctions and benefits of one versus the other, staking versus locking?
Yeah, for sure. So right now, like when you stake your mean, it's essentially what you get back. So it converts mean into S mean, or staked mean is what we call it, and it's very much just like any other token right now. When you go to the next step of locking, it essentially, by nature of that word, it will hold it in place, if you will, for really simple terms, whereby it can't be moved or traded or anything like that. And that has it's a way, in a way of obviously supporting MeanFi and investing in it in a way, and in return we there are multiples of returns depending on how long you lock for. So there's going to be a range of initial of, I think it's 7 days is sort of the lowest, and almost to the point where that's really not locked, and up to 4 years with the biggest multiple, and there will be periods between that as well. And so it's an opportunity for people who invested in MeanFi and want to grow with us and see the vision that we have to be able to grow your mean stash. And on top of that, it also opens up some more power with regards to voting. So mean power, the more you grow that, the more say that you'll have on the governance front, the direction. And so it's a sort of a twofold thing, more rewards and more power, I guess, within the DAO.
Yeah, right on, right
Awesome.
on. And I think that and it's not only on the DAO too, right? So like the amount of rewards that you get for staking and locking and the capital distributions that we do are also going to be impacted by how much and how long do you lock. So essentially, the main, like, for those of you who are more technically inclined on the primary differences, staking is essentially an unbalanced pool. It's like an AMM, but instead of being balanced at the market rate, we force the unbalance of that pool. That's why, with time, the S mean is the same thing as M Sol and Sol, for example. It works in the same way that you stake Sol and you get M Sol back, and then that M Sol little by little gains a little bit of additional value at whatever 6%, or social SEN Sol or Lido Sol. Any of those uses a very similar mechanism than what we're using. And the distinction with the locking is that you are effectively taking circulating supply out of the market, right? So that the more people that lock mean, the less circulating supply and the less offer is in the market, and therefore that that pushes the demand side to shoot up a little bit the tokenomics of the project in a positive fashion.
Yeah.
So plus all of the utilitarian aspects that you get from that. As always, we are so lucky that we launch stuff right when Solana Network is at its best moments. So
You say
this
that. You
is,
say that jokingly, of course.
yeah, of course, I say that as a joke,
Yeah.
but it's like we have I think that we have a notorious track record
Ton.
of launching features or launch freaking forget about launching feature. We launched the entire token in the middle of a major disaster, or a major downtime for the whole network. So not to lose um, our badge of honor of making sure that we launch when the TPS are going on the floor.
Mm.
We just did it for Mean. If it makes you feel better, you can think of the previous week's delays. We're waiting just for the right moment.
That's right. Yeah, that's
So
ironic in a way, but
it's ironic.
even with that said, it was very smooth, I have to say. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
and the notification bar is working well,
yeah,
which we don't ever really want to see that, but it helps users
yeah.
know what's going on, of course.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, it was just like a bad joke. I think that it's I had it coming. All right, Paul-san, what do we have besides the locking piece
Sure.
that you think is immediately in front of the team right now that you want to focus on?
For sure. So just part of the this sprint, as we call it, that I mentioned last week, is we were going over how can we improve the speed of the app for the users, and one part was already implemented, which was announced. It involved almost I would say at least a 2x speed load, speed improvement. So loading 2 times faster for people with connections that aren't as good or slower. It was actually more than that, but that was the minimum amount of improvement we tracked. So I thought that was really cool because everybody benefits from that. And that was towards the end of last week. We implemented that, and following up with that is a queuing system that we're working to finish for early next week. Tuesday is currently what we're targeting to have that implemented. And what that is essentially is right now, when people go to say want to close a money stream, they would have to wait for the confirmation of the full confirmation of the closure of the stream to be able to continue using our app. And by switching into a queuing system, it allows for parallel processes, if you will. We're going to be starting to multitask a little bit more, and also giving the ability for the user to be able to track what's happened in a notification log spot to be able to track the procedure. So essentially, one of the key focuses we're delivering on is speeding things up. And one part's done, and the second part is coming. And a couple other things. We've made some upgrades to the multi-sender, and we're actually continuing to develop that as over the next week and probably into the week after. Multi-sender is where you can create multiple streams at one time. We got some good feedback from the community and from some of our partners, and we've been making improvements to improve that offering to our users. Just wanted to again thank the community for the help on the translations. It's on the Chinese side, Korean side, Russian side is sort of been our focus, but that's not to also include everybody else that's helping out with that. It really does make a difference. So I'm grateful to everybody that is helping us with that, and it's making us better across the whole world, really, right? So thank you for that, guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's been pretty amazing to see how the collaboration kind of takes place directly from the DAO and all the contributors and the people participating and how it all goes and makes it all the way back into the product.
Yeah,
So yeah, phenomenal as always. It's outstanding work, guys.
100%.
I think that you left one little thing out. I'm going to point it out,
Okay.
and that is that the numbers and the stats and the reports on TVL and
Yes.
all of those things that are still pending.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to touch
For
briefly on
sure. For
that
sure.
and where we are.
Yeah, for sure. So it is something that staking was a bit of a blocker. Maybe perhaps it sounds like an excuse, but it was such a key thing that we wanted to get done that it was holding up a little bit of other stuff. That is certainly one key focus that we're going to be working on over the next week is exactly on that point. We have been working on it over time, but creating making it more accessible and linking that into ultimately into the stats dashboard to allow our users to be able to access that data. So it's a bunch of different things that are happening on top of the stats dashboard that essentially allows us to have a closer connection to those numbers and sharing them with the community as well. So
Yep.
that's where we're going with
Yeah.
that, and pretty excited actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too about that. I think everybody's going to be is going to be really excited, and I think that the important thing to kind of understand here for those who are new and those who might not have like the full picture is that TVL is not like a single number, right? It is an aggregate number of a bunch of different smart contracts that are holding value on behalf of each of us and each of our customers and like everybody, right? Every time that we make a deposit into any one of those contracts, there's TVL that is organized, that is designed, that is unique to each one of the contracts. So the way that those contracts are holding on into different vaults or into different pools of money needs to be accounted for, and that's why like some of the like if it's something that is very standardized, like an AMM, for example, like all AMMs are pools of money. It's very easy to just look at the one account and you can see how much pool of money is deposited there, which is, for example, the case of the staking contract that we have right now for the Mean stake. It's very easy because it's a single pool of money where like all of the money is deposited in the same spot. But when you're looking at contracts that have to do with security infrastructure, for example, like the multisig or that have to do with the streaming infrastructure, like the money streams, where each person gets individual accounts or individual vaults, that the money that is there is theirs and theirs alone. You need to start then counting basically all of the different vaults that have been created across all the different contracts that we have across all the different users. So, and doing that on chain and accurately is a little bit of a challenge.
Mhm.
Therefore, that's where it takes a little bit more time to actually create an accurate process around the whole thing. So that's where some of those challenges are coming through. And but the team, we're working through it, and we're closer than ever before to putting that out there. Okay.
Mhm. That's awesome.
All right, Pavel-san, thank you very much
Yeah, thank you.
for that awesome update. Maylene, what do you want to add to the product, um, to the updates, to the management, to the QA? We
Yeah,
have a lot. We have that Jira project is long today, right? So, like, why is it so long? What is it? What we're doing there?
there are multiple things here. So let's starting with Jira. Um, many and many UI improvements that we're doing and adjustments to get a better like user experience across the entire app. To cover those little patches that sometimes with the rush of getting things to prod, you kind of like do not polish them enough. So we want to make sure that they are like crystal clear for everybody, and that anyone from existing users to upcoming users, right, they have a very nice experience when they come to use MeanFi. So it's not just a matter of having new features being released to prod, but also like evaluating gradually, is this enough? Should we make this, should we take this other approach to make it better or easier for people to understand? So we have a lot of that coming up. And probably I will get a better updates as we go to production with them next week, like early next week. So for the next AMA, we're gonna have a lot of these details being explained here, and also some of them have been brought up from the community, especially through Hello Next, which I was gonna mention. That everybody's just giving great inputs and feedback on Hello Next, not just voting for the new features, but also I like suggesting, changes and updates, and even in the questions that they ask, we're like, oh, I think that we can make this more intuitive for the user if we just do this simple UI tricks and changes here and there. So we get a lot of that. Let's just make sure the community keeps using and keeps engaging with Hello Next, just for voting, for upcoming features. This is what guides a lot of our roadmap. We have like our we have our pipeline, but it's very nice to confirm that with the community, and it's also great when the community provides input that we can say, oh, you know what, let's actually prioritize this because people wanted it more than this other thing that we had in mind. So we love the feedback of the community in Hello Next. I know that we keep getting Discord, and this is on the support side, for anybody who's having some like very specific issues with maybe a particular money stream, or sometimes even a misunderstanding of something in the app, that they're reaching out through the Discord help center. But keep in mind that we also have our help center through the app, that is monitored through Jira. So basically, when you have something that is in depth, or there is a problem that needs to be escalated, it goes through there. And we love seeing it there because it's automatically connected with our Jira board. So in there we have everything for the dev team. So we have complete visibility of anything that can be affecting a particular user or several users. For the new features, I'm not gonna say more because you guys cover a bunch of them. And probably by next week, I'm gonna have more of this UI improvements and updates that we're doing on the product itself.
All right, awesome. Just for clarification, because not everybody knows that the
Yeah.
product behind next.meanfi.com is Hello Next, and I mean you know it because you're managing the administration. But essentially, the way that you guys access that is go to next.meanfi.com, and there you see the interface where there is basically all of our feature requests where you can vote up different features as people put them through. So it is a collaborative space for ideas, feature requests, things that you want to see change, things that you want to incorporate into the roadmap. There's a roadmap there as well, and we have the change log as well that gets published every time that we do a release, so that you can see all the changes that have been happening across the different products and apps that we have. All right, that's next.meanfi.com.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the links also in the Q&A session that we have open.
All right, cool. And I think that is enough good news, I think, for the product piece. But I'm sure that a couple of questions will surface here and there. Yeah. So just let us know what those questions are, and then we'll get them answered over here. Why don't we make a quick switch over to marketing, and then Mo, maybe you can carry over a little bit of those interactions that you've been having also with the DAO and with the different working groups, and any kind of updates that you want to share with us.
Sure. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on what time zone you're based in.
Yeah.
On the marketing perspective and aspect, we've seen a steady growth in our Twitter engagement for the last week. I'll start from there, which is about 122,000 impressions over the last 7 days. We also are seeing a steady growth on our LinkedIn, as now there's regular posts that are being created over on that channel. Medium is back in action because of, one of the reasons being staking going live. So that was a good reason to get it activated. And the goal is to have a blog a week from this week, every week on Medium. Discord seems to be a bit low on numbers, but I guess it's nothing wrong. It's just, guess we also have had quite a bit of inactive users that are slowly moving away, which is a good sign. So we have higher engagement with more active users. We changed all of our links to go into one link. Thank you for also the DAO members for recommending that. So now hopefully it's easier just to find all of our useful links from our current openings to the app itself, to where you can buy MeanFi and different channels such as Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. Instagram's not here yet. and that has seen a good growth of almost 230 clicks with 284 visitors in the last week.
All right.
What else do we have on marketing? I think there's still quite a lot, but yes, we are considering, we've been seeing some feedback from observing some inputs from DAO members and also the conversations. As mentioned last week, we are in the process of identifying new channels that we will consider in terms of communications and also being present on. One of them might be Instagram, but we still have to discuss that and look at all the factors around that and make a call. But that should be maybe next week. We can update you more on that.
This week we didn't close any particular listing on any exchange, did we? Was it the previous week, right?
Well, we have PIP that went on this week.
Oh, that's right.
So that was a big one, actually. Yes.
Yeah.
So that was a really good one. We've also been now listed on Strike X last week. So we've actually had 2 listings. So that's interesting. We're talking to other potential partners, and well, I wouldn't call them partners, but DEX and SEC. So we do want to be considerate on how we get listed, why we get listed, and who we get listed with. There have been conversations on the DAO, which we did have a discussion about earlier today, and I did request Michelle to maybe just talk about the factors behind how we get listed, what is the reason, and so on. So I pass the mic on to you, Michelle, for that.
All right. So yeah, so Mo wanted me to talk a little bit about and I'm gonna keep it brief, but giving a little bit of context about how do we handle all of the centralized exchange listings and even decentralized exchanges, all the DEXs or AMMs where we where we provide liquidity. So there are, if you think about like the core reasons of getting listed, like basically anywhere, is it, you know, uh, being listed is just a liquidity event for the token. That's pretty much it, and it kind of like ends there. Now, liquidity means also that on jurisdictions where the users cannot use other exchanges or they cannot go out, like for example, Korea is an interesting case where everybody in Korea needs to trade within Korea, Korean exchanges. Like they cannot go out and trade in other places unless you start using like some VPNs and stuff like that. But it kind of like it creates a little bit of like a regulatory framework around the country, where if we don't have one listing available in a Korean exchange, then it is very likely that we're missing on a lot of the trading activity that's happening on the centralized exchanges of Korea, because they have basically a monopoly for the Korean nationals. But with the exceptions of 1 or 2 places where that is the case, getting listed in centralized exchanges usually helps more the centralized exchange than the token itself. And the reason for that is because and we have right now, we're listed in 3 of the top 20 exchanges. We have Gate, Mexi, and it's escaping right now. And what is the other one that I'm missing right now? Bitmart. Yeah. So we have Gate, Mexi, and Bitmart from the centralized exchange perspective, and we have seen that story kind of like repeat, every single time when we go to a central exchange and we get listed. It's a good event for the amount of marketing and news that it generates at the moment of the listing, and probably for the subsequent week or so, especially if we do some kind of like competition that incentivizes trading activity in the exchange. But all of those trading activities, to us, it means very little, other than the exposure that we can get to the project by people that were not exposed to the project before they discovered us through that particular exchange. Other than that, we don't get we don't get any lift. And what we see is that there's a lot of like initial traffic and volume in the first early days of most of the listing exchanges, and then it kind of dies down, and it settles at relatively low volumes of that, unless you support that with additional market making activities, and that means that we have to pay for each one of the token pairs that we have across the multiple exchanges. So at the end of the day, not only are the exchanges the one that get the benefit, where most of our users are the ones that ultimately get to create an account because we're doing an incentive on their platform, but we rarely can use our products like money streams directly through a centralized exchange. So take that off the table. And in addition to that, uh, after the initial excitement levels that happen on the exchange, we are one in an avalanche of 1,000 tokens or thousands of tokens in there, and unless you keep a very active market maker, that you're spending thousands of dollars a month just to keep enough of depth in the order books so that they get fulfilled on both sides, or that you have a futures markets or a derivative markets on the token itself, which we don't have. Unless those things are in place, the long-term side effects of belonging to centralized exchanges is actually like the exchange itself benefits a lot more than we benefit from it as a DAO and the price of the token. So all of those things are evaluated, and every time that we talk to an exchange, we have talked to like almost every single one of them by now. We do want to get listed, but we don't want to get listed at the price of diluting everybody else's tokens, because usually you have to pay a certain amount of listing fees or a certain amount of marketing expenses that don't have a long-term like real effect in the tokenomics at the end of the day. So we're being very selective on that and trying not to spread ourselves too thin on the whole centralized exchange listing, being very selective on that process. So it's more of an FYI than anything else. Do we want to get listed? Absolutely, but with a partner that is willing to go with us also and make an equal amount or an equal level of effort in the investment of getting listed in their exchange, because ultimately they get more benefit of it from it than we do. All right, and I'll leave it at that. We have some other like really interesting things that I'm not yet kind of like ready to share, but maybe in the next couple of weeks we will let you know something like really special that we're cooking here. And it's gonna make it into the roadmap, and we're still like 3 months or 4 maybe from seeing the light of day on that, but um, we have some. We have a renewed level of excitement over some new products that we're going to bring to light. So just stand by for better, bigger, more exciting announcements on that end. The one piece that I want to mention before we jump into the questions is that we have still pending the bonding for the bonding marketplace launch. It is April 1st today, and we have still another like week and a half or 2 weeks before we launch our first bonds. And that is, again, we depend on our partners. This is not something that we are building. This is something that we are working with different partners to launch different bonds on their infrastructure, and they need to be ready more so that we need to be. We're ready to launch it today if they're ready to launch it today. Unfortunately, you have all seen even some of the biggest ones in Solana die down, over the past couple of weeks. Namely, um, all I can remember right now is the owl. I am a little spaced out.
Invictus.
Invictus.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
The owl was
that summed it
yeah,
up nicely,
Invictus.
actually.
Yeah, you all have seen like what happened to Invictus, and some people that are in some of the protocols that are in that business of providing protocol on liquidity or protocol on assets and bonding marketplaces and things like that are kind of like reevaluating their business model. So there's certainly been I'm gonna say right now, we are 3 weeks late today from the original estimate that we had on that, and it's going to be at least a full month late from the original estimate, which was the first half of March on that. So we're going to end up with luck. We're going to be able to close everything on the new timeline that we have is second week of April. So that means probably not next week, but the following one. Yet to be seen. We're still working through some of the kinks and the details out. We are still missing a lot of information about that. But good news is that none of that is stopping the fact that we're already adding a lot of the liquidity or a lot of the utility to the token with staking, next coming up locking. So all of those things do depend on us only, not on a third party partner that we have to work with. Another thing that we're going to be doing, or that we're starting to work with a little bit more closely, is actually the setup of the governance portal. So I don't want to commit to a specific day where that is going to be launched, but I don't think it's going to be that complicated. There's a couple of integration things that we have to get through first, and they will be announced in due time. I don't want to jinx or jump ahead of a formal announcement on some of those partner integrations that we're going to be having, but we're talking in a matter of weeks, not months, for this, right? So there's a lot of moving parts right now that we have going on, as you have heard from Mo, from Eileen, from Pavel-san, from myself. And Adele didn't make it here today. He must be, I guess, I don't know. Yeah, but on the security side, we also have we just received actually the final one of the final audits from Soteria. We're going to be publishing that into the doc side. The one that we had there for the current version of the smart contracts that they audited was the preliminary report. We have already the final report. We made some additional corrections on some of the informational and low importance items that they wanted us to correct, and we did that. Very happy with the results that came out of that. We had 0 critical issues, 0 major issues, 0 of high importance issue. So we basically had a clean slate on that, and we didn't want to still put something out that had any kind of issue. So we went through and resolved even the low ones, and the ones that we have left are informational for the most part, and those are just well-known things. They're not problematic from a security standpoint. They're just syntactic sugar type of things that we need to put that we could make better, but decided not to do it for other technical reasons. So that one is it's going to get published probably this weekend on the official docs. We're still working with Certic on some of the other contracts, and we're going to have also additional follow-ups on that. We're working through little kinks with that, but again, nothing really, nothing major to report there until everything goes out. I think that is it that Adele would have probably wanted to add in here. I don't know why he didn't make it. And let's jump into the questions, shall we? Let's see what we got in here. Live questions. A lot of
pretty quiet, actually. I think we've answered most
pretty
of them.
quiet.
Yeah.
No questions. I guess people don't want some rewards for the questions. Okay. That's good. All right. Looking features. All right. I think that everybody must be absolutely in love with everything we're doing, which I am not going to complain about that. But next time, prepare your critical thinking hats, and you might be the lucky winner for some amazing rewards for making the right questions to the team. There's 60 people here. Either we are background noise for 60 people, or they're actually paying attention. So I hope it's the latter.
Yes.
All right. So, alrighty, guys. There's no need to keep us all the way to 11 if we don't need to. So, with that being said, don't forget to go out, smell the flowers, kiss your loved one, and let's fucking go!
Have a good day, everybody.
Good day.
Have a good
Bye.
day, everyone.